All right, hello world. My name is Troy Nelson, and this is another edition of Live on KEXP at Home, and very, very excited because we have Django Django with us today. How are you both doing?
Yeah, we're good. Thanks.
Awesome.
All
and
good.
Where did you, so you recorded an exclusive live performance for all of our listeners around the world. What can you tell them about this particular recording? Where did you record this at?
It was in a place called the Octagon in Brixton in South London. Yeah, it's right behind Brixton Prison, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, it's this record space, like kind of, it is how it describes. It's a kind of like octagon kind of space. And yeah, we went down and kind of knocked it out in a few hours. It was quite good fun.
Well, that is fantastic, and I'm excited to share it with everybody. So here you go, an exclusive live performance from Django Django. And there it is, a wonderful exclusive live performance for Live on KEXP at Home from Django Django. And so I was reading that you have members from all over the place, but somebody's from Scotland. Am I correct? One of you grew up in Scotland?
Yeah, I'm from Scotland. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I was lucky enough to go over to Scotland a few years ago for the first time ever. I'd never been overseas before. And the very first thing that I saw was that places were selling a deep fried Snickers bar. Is that a real popular thing over there?
Yeah. I mean, it started with, Scottish people deep fry everything. So like pizzas.
What?
Mars bars. Yeah. It's just, that's why it's the kind of heart disease capital of the world, probably. But no, it's quite real. I mean, when I was at school, sometimes on my lunch break, I'd get a deep fried Mars bar. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is tasty. It's as you'd imagine, just gooey, melted, battered. It's all right.
No, I loved it over there, and they were pretty strict about booze. I was, like they have all the measuring things at bars, measured pours. Because over here, if you get a drink, there's no measuring. It's just like, so I kind of get it. It kind of maybe keeps people under some control or behavior.
It's probably a combination of stopping people getting too drunk and really stingy, tight landlords, which is like Scotland's two cliched characteristics rolled into one, I think. But
yeah,
I worked in pubs all the time, and it was very, you had to. And if you were pouring it for an old guy at the bar, he was like, and it was a millimeter under the line. He's like, "What? Hey, get more whiskey in there."
I would just order doubles all the time. I'm like, screw it, I'll just get a double, because a double over there is like a single over here.
Right. Yeah. No, I remember first time being in the States and just being quite wowed by all the free pouring that went on.
Yeah, it's probably not a great idea, but that's how it is. But I absolutely loved it over there, and this has been a wild ride for you guys, because when you made your first record, it was just kind of a we're gonna make a little DIY album. Maybe we'll sell 200 copies, and then all of a sudden you put it out and you get nominated for a Mercury Prize, and then all of a sudden this wild ride starts. It's been a pretty amazing journey, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Like, as you say, I think we just hoped we were playing little bars and clubs in London. We all lived in London at the time, and still do. And yeah, we would just play these kind of nights that people would put on, and there'd be like a 3-band lineup, and it was East London, so there was loads of interesting stuff happening. We were kind of happy in that scene, and we were kind of we were both working kind of day jobs at the time, and just find the time to record, whenever we could. And then, it got towards the point where we had an album, and we kind of were talking to different labels, and nobody was really kind of coming through. We were going to kind of self-release, and then at the last minute, the label that we're on now, Because, came in, and we went with them. And yeah, we were all kind of taken back on that first album for sure, the kind of response. So, and then we've just been writing and touring, and I think it's our 4th album now. So yeah, it's come a long way, you could say.
Yeah. No, I love this journey. Also, what is it about Django Django's music that keeps ending up in multiple sports video games? How did that ever come about?
I don't know, really. Yeah, we were on quite a few of the FIFA soccer games and Grand Theft Auto and things. So I think we were on quite a few computer games, but I have no idea how that. By the time we were on computer games and stuff, I'd well outgrown my gaming days. I used to have a Mega Drive, or a Genesis, as you called it over there. So I didn't actually play any of these games that were on, but it's fine by me, I guess.
That's amazing that just happens. And you're like, I'm not sure how that ended up in there, but because a lot of bands, they wish that would happen to them, get placements like that. And I find that to be really cool.
I think it was only my like young kind of cousins who you know, they weren't really interested in anything we were doing, but then when we appeared on the game,
then they cared.
Then they cared.
Oh, wow. They start paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Maybe this band is doing something.
Yeah.
So I would like to know, what is the relationship between the song Kick the Devil Out and Kids in the Hall?
Well, I growing up, I was a massive fan of Kids in the Hall. I was really into comedy, like Monty Python and sketch shows and stuff. And I sort of forgot about Kids in the Hall for years until YouTube and that came around again, and started rewatching it all. And there's just one sketch that I really, really love. It's this teenage boy, Bobby versus Satan, where a teenage boy challenges Satan to a guitar off. And when we wrote Kick the Devil Out, that was in my head, that sketch of just this sort of quite daft domestic scene of, you know, the devil being a kind of unwanted guest in your house. And that just kind of triggered the whole progress of writing the lyrics, and then the video as well was kind of slight homage to that sketch.
Right. I think I heard you say one time that, like, what if the devil showed up and he wasn't this evil thing? He actually was just really annoying.
Yeah. like he's just kind of misunderstood. He's just gets on everyone's nerves and ends up being sort of thrown out and a bit dejected by his rejections. You know, like, I mean, maybe you shouldn't be so kind of flippant about these things, but it made us laugh, so we went with it.
Oh, that's so good. In your music video for Free from Gravity, I'm curious, who got to play the alien character? Who was that?
It was a little kid that the production company cast for it.
Oh, I was curious. Is it a family member? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I never saw him without his mask thing on, so he's remained a mystery.
What was it like to work with Jim Canty?
On the
didn't Jim Canty direct? Was he director or
on that video? Mm-hmm. Well, it was weird because, you know, we did it all remotely, so it was lots of Zooms like this.
Okay,
but it went really well, you know.
So that was filmed during the pandemic.
That's right, yeah.
I see.
Which kind of worked in a way because it made all the locations very sparse and isolated. And
right.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to the song in the video.
Yeah.
I was curious, what can you tell the listeners who may not be familiar? What influence does Joe Meek have on you?
His story is a bit gruesome. I think he murdered himself and then committed suicide in North London, but he was just a kind of pioneer of oddball pop, I guess, in the 60s, and produced a lot of really bonkers pop records that sort of shouldn't have been pop because he was quite an avant-garde producer. But yeah, it was just someone that me and Vinny were both into when we met up and started. Okay, when me and Vinny first met up and started making the music, we were in a phase of really into like surf guitar and rockabilly and that kind of thing. So Joe Meek was kind of the oddball producer in that world.
Because I had never heard of Joe Meek before, and so I'm so glad that you introduced me to it, because I am always interested in sort of outsider art, or like you say, like odd pop, avant pop, if you will. And there's a little bit of that in Django Django's music. So I've found that to be incredibly interesting. And speaking of, on the song Hold Fast, it's like driven by this arpeggio sequence played on the Juno 60, but it's triggered by an MPC blasting loud noises. How much time is spent tinkering with plugins and sounds, and whose main job is that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, obviously the synth world is kind of Tommy's domain, but I suppose it all filters through Dave at the end. So kind of, we kind of go with the idea that he's got the final say on stuff, which it keeps at least it's it's kind of one person putting it out the door. So
Tommy's definitely the noodler in chief, though. He's like, he likes to get a new bit of gear and really like drive down into all its inner workings. I've got no patience with synths. It's got more than 6 knobs on it, I'm out. But Tommy really kind of gets to grips with these things, and yeah, he's great at that whole synth and MPC and sampler and all that. He's really got that down. Yeah,
absolutely. How did you guys get MGMT to do a remix for you? Have you met those guys?
Just asked, really.
Was your idea?
I don't think we've ever met. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you just, an idea pops in your head, like, oh, I love it, MGMT, that, imagine they remixed this. And then you go, oh, I might as well ask. And sometimes they say no, sometimes they just don't respond. Sometimes they say yes, but we want 20 grand. But with MGMT, they were just like, yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, great. I mean, we're all massive fans of them. So.
Yeah. No, same here. So what is next to come from Django Django? Because I know obviously we're dealing with the pandemic still, and touring has really not been an option. But going forward, do you have some new songs that you're working on, recorded, or what might we expect in the next 6 to 12 months from Django Django?
I think we're as you can see, Dave's in his studio. I'm in the band studio. We're just kind of, I think he's gone through lots of the hard drives and old computers and pulled out about 50 songs.
Wow.
So we're kind of working on them, and then we've got kind of 2 releases in our head that we're kind of putting tracks into different piles. So yeah, we've got a bit of a long game kind of organized. So yeah, it's obviously weird, like not having gone and played the album live properly, toured. But yeah, we'll obviously filter it all in the next time we go out.
Well, we've been loving the new record, every record that you've put out, and thanks for making all of these wonderful sounds. It's amazing to me that a band can have so many different sounding songs, but yet it all sounds like the same band. I don't know how you all magically do that, or that's just what comes out, but thank you for all these years of fantastic music, and we're looking forward to also having you in Seattle whenever that is allowed. We would love to have you guys actually physically here. Again.
Definitely, yeah. It'd be amazing. One of our favorite cities over there, so it'd be great.
Well, we would love to have you back, and we will one day. But thanks again also for that fantastic performance that you recorded exclusively for our Live on KEXP at Home sessions. So we thank you for that.
Cheers. Thanks very
for
much.
having us.
Absolutely. That is Django Django live on KEXP at Home.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.